And her most recent release, Memphis Rock and Soul, debuted at the number one on the Billboard Blues chart, making it her first number one debut album. Ladies and gentlemen, Melissa Etheridge.
To hear the woos. Thank you.
It's a good crowd, I can tell.
It's a great crowd. Come on, we're surrounded by guitars.
Yeah.
You can't.
What could be bad?
Me
singing, that's what could be bad. That's where this will go to hell very quickly.
No.
If you were at my bat mitzvah, you'd know that.
I have played some bat mitzvahs, yes I have.
Yeah, probably not as bad as me singing. Yeah. Speaking of singing, you were just saying backstage you were writing some new music.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm always writing, but I found myself, I used to, like, in my early 20s and 30s, I would write all the time. I was that woman who would just, it's daytime, I'm writing, just on the bed, I'm writing, I would do it. I was constantly in that artistic mode, and then I had children. And everything changes, and now I have to schedule my artistic modes. So I have found myself even going, okay, I'm not even going to think about writing for like 3 months, and go out and work and do and play, and now it's time to start writing again. So it's interesting to be in this day and age right now that we are in with everything happening. It's kind of overwhelming what one can write about, and so I'm
so many topics.
So many topics to write about, and I have to kind of distill and find out what's going to really resonate with myself and everyone. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about like time frames because I think we have a lot of marketers in the room too, and it's a similar challenge to be creating something today that probably or may not get heard for months or even a year maybe.
And you hope that you don't feel the way that you feel now in a year. You hope that it will be different, but you don't know. But what do you write? So it's an interesting time to be a creative person. Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting what inspires creativity. Yes. Life. Yeah.
That's the greatest inspiration.
Yeah. So your last album, or your most recent album, just came out, Memphis Rock and Roll. What inspired that?
Memphis
Rock and Roll. Rock and Soul.
That's okay. That's all right. No, Rock and Soul.
But it's reimagining.
It's reimagining.
Right? Classic artists.
Well, it's Stax Records.
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys in my management company, Primary Wave, whom I love in New York City, and they. He came to me and he said, because I've never done a cover, right? I'd always been writing and did my stuff. And he said, there's an opportunity to record with Stax Records. Stax, who had been, hasn't been a label since the 80s, the early 80s, late 70s. And he said, they'll put you, Concord Records own them now, and the catalog. And I sang Stax songs, Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, and the staple singers. It's just the greatest music ever.
Crazy.
And I could sing them and also be on the Stax record. So I got to have, vinyl is back now. So I got to actually have vinyl, and it has a little Stax, thing in the corner, and that just blows my mind. And I went down there. I worked in Memphis, and I don't know if anybody's from Memphis here, but Memphis is. Austin's cool. Memphis is like Austin was, like a couple decades ago, and it's beautiful people there. I recorded at the Royal Studios, which I would have recorded at the Stax Studios, but it's a museum now, and it's a museum that was built because they burned it down. Yeah, because it's just had such a history in Memphis, and man, going down there, meeting the people, working with the musicians that I worked with, the high rhythm section, which they're the guys that all played at High Records, which is Al Green. Oh, so I got to sing on Al Green's microphone.
Wow.
Right, number 9. It was crazy. And I got to work with the musicians that you hear love and happiness, right? Charles.
Reverend Charles.
Thank you, Reverend Charles. Yeah, it's Reverend Charles. Yeah, him and his brother. They played with Al Green forever and ever, and he that's him on that. And also the guitar player, his name was Michael Tolles, and he is the guy who played on Shaft. The wah wah, waka wah, yeah. So these are the dudes, these are the guys, and we would sit and talk for an hour before we even started making music, and they would tell me the most amazing stories of touring America, especially the South in the '60s, what it was like. It was so. I just I love the album. If you love that kind of music, you might dig it. It's done. I love it. I love singing it. The experience that I had there is worth everything. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting how like vinyl is back, right? There's so many of these sort of retro trends, and I think there's something really interesting in the digital era, how people are gravitating back towards physical things and things you can hold. I always like to ask people like, okay, what was the first album you ever bought?
Well, the first album I remember having was my father got it for me for Christmas. It was Carole King's Tapestry. Every note from beginning to end. It was amazing. I loved it. Yes.
So what was the first digital song you ever downloaded?
Oh, that's a good question.
Anyone?
Isn't it first?
It's different, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's usually the answer. I've asked a lot of people that actually stole this question from Paul Wilmington. I'll give him full credit, but it's a genius question because it really speaks to the role of sort of physical things in the world, right? And kind of the impression that they make. We talk a lot about, we were talking backstage about music discovery. Right, and I think it's really interesting in this world of digital and everything music in your pocket. It's so interesting because left to your own devices, most of us end up listening to the same music from high school and college. Right, and one of the things we
good. I was in your high school. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, it's believe me, it's so true, and I think it's so interesting how one of the reasons we believe radio is still so big is and so many people still listen to the radio is because we need people smarter than us about music to tell us that Melissa has new music out and it's awesome and here's why it's so cool and here's the backstory and here's why she went to Memphis and here's how she's reinventing the Stax catalog, and go listen to it because you wouldn't know that without other people telling you that. Where do you find your music inspirations? What to listen to?
Social media.
Yeah,
a lot. Social media, friends.
Yeah, friends
my
is always
children.
the number one.
My children, I don't know how they do it. They absorb from each other. They share. It's the sharing. It's the word of mouth. It's the I like this person's taste in music. So
Lego movie soundtracks.
Oh my God, I have 4 children that I know of, and it's my favorite joke.
So good.
And boy, they can find music like anywhere. They can just get it and they Shazam it, and there it is. Bam.
It's amazing.
It's like I used to have to walk to a record store and wait for the weekend. Yeah.
When it comes to creating music, it's we were as we were talking about, we were just next door with a bunch of folks in this room, and we were hacking jingles with musicians, some great talented singers and performers, and the jingle punks. When you create music, is it more of a private process or is it more of a collaborative process?
I tell you, that's really been something that has changed because I had to always be alone when I wrote a song. It was, because I was taking a piece of me and myself and trying to make it for, mass consumption. How can I do this? Take my heart. And it was very, very private. And these days it has changed. My first time that I did that was not this record, but the record before. It was my first independent record. They said, we want to put you with some writers. That's just weird to me, but I found I really like to collaborate musically with I like to get with, I worked with some rap artists actually
awesome.
on the album before last, a guy named Oh, why can I think
Rock
of names?
star.
Thank you. Why
There
can
you
I think
go.
of names tonight? Names are gone.
That's
But-
why you have a wife.
No, thank you.
Filling the gaps.
Rockstar. Thank you. You're the left side of my brain. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Rockstar, and it was great to collaborate with someone of such a different genre, and you really find out quickly that the feel of rock and roll is the same in every, the feel of music, the desire to share and entertain is there. So now I've forgotten your question. See?
Private versus collaborative. Yeah.
Yeah. So I write more and mostly privately. I have enjoyed collaborating though.
It's interesting because in marketing, it's some of the same challenges, I think. Does someone sit alone and write the perfect line and there it is? Or do you just get in a room and hack and, sort of find your way to the message?
It's interesting. I've done that a couple times now. Recently, someone called me in to write with them, and I was like, it's very intimate. It's like speed dating or something. You just gotta, intimate and then go home. Right?
Swipe.
Yeah, exactly.
What about, so in your new album, you actually recreated a lot of male voices. Was that challenging?
That's an interesting question. What was challenging is you all know I'm gay, right? What? That's my life. But my music has never been like coming from that point of view. I really felt, especially before I was out, I was like I wasn't gonna be singing about girls, and yet I loved rock and roll, and there was all those songs that. Well, I can't sing that song because he's singing about a girl, and I can't sing that, even though that's how I feel. Yet it's very, very confusing.
Yeah.
And so to now be out for 25 years, and the world has changed.
Amazing,
and it's
by the way.
very different.
Thank you.
I still don't. Well,
Thank you.
My pleasure. It's been a great trip. It's been wild, but to then approach this music and approach a song where he's singing about a girl, and I put myself in his words. I didn't feel like changing the lyrics. I just felt like, okay, I can sing this in this way, and it's real. And I didn't know I didn't know if anyone would be. It's sort of like being gay in the first place. You just don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. It's like, okay, it's all right, we're all cool. And and no one has said anything. I mean, I think you're the first person that's really asked me that.
Interesting.
And it was no one. My record company didn't say anything. No one along the way. It was just, that's the song. Why wouldn't you sing the song like that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, instead of messing with pronouns.
Yeah.
It never leads to a good place.
No, it never.
So I hear you're actually going to be performing in Cuba. Speaking of new and different experiences. Excited?
Cuba, yeah. I mean, just a few years ago, that was unthinkable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And actually, not to be all gay on you, I'm sorry, but there's evidently a big LGBT community there because Fidel Castro's niece is gay.
No, she's not.
No, she's not gay.
No.
A lot of revelations on stage
She's
tonight.
very gay friendly.
Yes, very
Thank
different.
you.
Very well done.
God, that was almost an international.
Almost.
I just have to mention Brad Pitt and it'll be all over everywhere.
Unless there's something you want to tell me about
No,
her.
nothing.
All right. Well, that's all right. So let's move
Stop.
on.
Okay. This is
It's becoming a much more important interview than I think we anticipated here at the iHeart South by dinner.
Okay, never mind about that. Yes, your very sweet question about Cuba. I'm really looking forward
I
to
thought
Cuba.
that was a really benign
Really
question.
benign. God, no. So yes, I'm really looking forward to, and I was excited that they asked me, and because it's new and cool, and I'm really looking forward to it. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think as the world is opening up, and it's interesting. We talk a lot because we've got our the iHeartRadio app, and we program for people digitally, and then we still reach tons more people in the car and out in the world. And I think it's been interesting, sort of post-election, thinking about these bubbles that we're getting caught in digitally. One of the things we've seen at iHeart is concert attendance is way up again, right? Because I think people are craving this, right? These live shared experiences. Are you feeling that? Like there's a new energy when you get to go out and perform?
My shows over the last, I've constantly toured. I love making music. And so my shows over the last few years, though I've noticed, have grown in size. And it's the 30-year-old, from 20 to 30, and on the other side,
Yes,
that
millennial. We talk about a lot of them
that's
in
the
marketing
word.
groups. Yeah.
That 30-year-old right there, that's it?
Yeah, her, classic millennial, right there. Taryn.
Right there. So, but that's who really loves that experience, and they cherish it, and it's very exciting for me because I feel like, oh, that's right, I can do that. I can sing and play and entertain, and I have always maintained that that's really worth something. I've seen the digital come and now you can music right there, but to have the experience. I'm going to sing for you later, and it's a very personal, right experience that even if you record it, it's still you were here at the moment, and you can't change that. You can't buy that.
Yeah, and I think that's what everyone is craving, right? These live shared experiences that, we can all listen to the music on our own. We can all curate an amazing experience in our own sort of digital bubble. But it's when you come together live and have shared conversation, that's where I think amazing things happen. Any other, any messages you would like to share with these powerful marketers out here who get to communicate with billions of dollars to the world?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, well done.
I think anything you want to see marketing
accomplished? This is an important time, and I see it. It's seriously important time because we know what is being pushed back against. And we know how in the last 10, 20 years, we as a consciousness, as a mind, as we watch television, as you take these advertising as it speaks from a social point of view, you have always taken the high road. You have really raised, when I saw the ads for the Super Bowl this year, I know what we're saying. This is the message. We are Americans. We are moving forward. We are not against each other. That's not what it's about. And consistently, and for you all, thank you for staying there, for not running to the fearful side, for not just because it's popular right now, the nationalism and the thing. Good job, and hold that. You're doing a political action, and history will speak well of you.
Awesome. I think that's an amazing thought to end with. The positivity, because I think musicians, I think artists, I think marketers who are stepping up. I think it's an important moment, and I think that the messages we're putting out there influence people, businesses, brands, and when we can come together to do that, it's a beautiful thing.
I know.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I am looking forward to your performance in a little bit.
Yay!
Yes. And I think we're all going to enjoy an amazing dinner.
Yay.